What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Baker's DIY Lifestyle. So it has been a while since we put out a video, but we have had a lot going on, and I just want to show you guys. This does not look like the same house that I was working on before, right? So me and my wife went out and bought a new house, and we have a ton of projects going on, and I just want to do a quick overview of everything that we're going to be doing here at this new house. So this house was actually built in 1927, so this bad boy is almost 100 years old, which means we have a ton of issues and a ton of cool things that we're going to be working on. So of course the first thing we want to look at is our yard, how it looks, what I'm going to do through this year and into the fall in order to get this thing looking a lot better. So you guys can see just from looking at it how overgrown a lot of these shrubs are. If I look through the front yard here, look at all of this freaking clover. So I think I gave up all of my nice, beautiful tall fescue and pretty much just bought a clover patch, which is gonna be awesome because it's gonna give me a lot of stuff to make content about, how to clean up your yard, how to get rid of the clover, and then sow something completely new. So this big old oak tree that I'm standing underneath as well, that is going to give us a ton of issues with the yard, with all this leaf cover during the fall, how big it is. It's going to be soaking up a lot of the water that's in the front yard. So that is one thing I'm definitely going to deal with in the future. I don't know how soon, but it is one thing that I'm going to tackle. The crazy thing I noticed just from walking through the yard is just how hard this dirt is. I guess over the 6 years that I've lived at my house and been putting soil treatments down and a lot of yard treatments, I never realized how soft the soil actually got under your feet. But over here it is rock solid. So that's going to be a fun thing to deal with whenever we go to aerate and overseed. So we will deal with that whenever we get there as well. The first project we're going to tackle on the outside of the house is definitely going to be all this landscaping. Again, I talked about, you can see that hydrangea bush right there. It is absolutely overgrown and ridiculously too big. But we had a termite problem at one point in this house, and we actually found some when we moved in. So we had it sprayed, and honestly, I think a lot of the issue is just how humid it is right here, how much ground cover we have, and it really just doesn't let the ground dry out the way it should. So again, with all of our ground cover, you can see all of this stuff in between the garage and the front door of the house here. I guess they just planted all this stuff so they wouldn't have to throw mulch, but now it's gotten to the point where it's completely overgrown. You can't even see the ground. There was a little walking path right here that you can't see. So that is another thing that we're gonna have to deal with as well. Walking around the garage, most of this stuff I'm just gonna clean up, probably rip all these little tulips out. I know they come back every year, but you can see when they grow and they die, that just doesn't really look all that great. So I think I'm gonna rip all of that stuff out, kind of start over and go from there. So I'm gonna continue walking around the garage here. So of course everything is older. We've got nice wood siding here that we're definitely gonna have to repaint. They loved their cream colors, so everything we want to freshen up, put a nice coat of white paint. And the same thing with the trim on the house, it's all cream colored, so we want to clean that up as well. This area here, we're going to rip every single bush out of the back side of the garage and put a nice parking area right here beside the garage so I can put my trailer or have extra parking when people come over. So that's going to be another project that we're going to tackle at some point as well. So here's the back side of the walkway in between the garage and the house, and you can see here, again, a ton of bushes, a ton of overgrown stuff. We've got some super tall weeds growing up in the mix as well. Just a whole bunch of landscape stuff we have to do. I don't know if you can see that gutter back there in the corner. You can see that it's not really attached very well, so we've got some cosmetic things like that to work on. But this area here, I'm planning on ripping all of this stuff out, building a little floating deck right in front of that window. That window is actually our kitchen, so if I can open the window up and I'm out here grilling, we can pass food back and forth through the window, so that'll be another project we will work on as well. But while we're back here in the backyard, I'll give you a quick little sweep of what the backyard looks like. And again, just a pile of clover. I mean, it is a rough looking yard. It needs a lot of work to get it to the same level of our previous house, but I'm super excited to get started on it. So one of the things I'll have to look at with this part of the yard is right here. It looks like possibly a big tree was cut down and maybe the root system is still under here somewhere. But you can see all these dry spots. You can see all these dry spots at the top of the hill, and there's also a big hole about right here where the ground is a lot lower. So I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on here, whether it was a tree or possibly a pool that they had, because it's kind of flat. But I'm not sure exactly what that was. But from here, we're gonna continue on around the back of the house and keep looking at everything in the yard. So another thing I'm gonna have to deal with is I've got this little flower bed in the yard. I don't really want it here at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean all this stuff up. I'm just gonna spray everything and kill it, level it out, and we'll replace that whenever, and we'll go over that with some grass seed whenever we get to the fall time. But these two Japanese maples here, I'm definitely going to keep those, but I think I'm going to transplant them into the front yard. So I really want to cut down that gigantic oak tree in the front and possibly just transplant these into the front so they won't be as big. And then another tree right here I'm thinking about getting rid of right close to the road. I'll probably cut it down and possibly even that smaller one over here, just so I can put a tree line a little bit closer to the road, give us a little more yard area. But that's something I'll think about in the future. For now, we'll just leave them and let them keep on growing. Some other things we're gonna have to worry about. We've got that little fire pit back there and that well. That well looks like it was possibly sat down on an old well. There's nothing inside of it that I know of, but I am gonna rip it down, try to plant some grass there as well and clean it up. So walking around the back side of the sunroom here, you can see more overgrown landscaping, bushes and everything that we're gonna have to rip out. So a lot of this stuff I will completely kill off, completely tear it down. That tree right there, I do not like that thing growing right on the house, so I will be ripping that tree out as well and completely starting fresh from this area. So there is a ton of landscaping work that needs to be done, and that's one of my least favorite things to do, but on this house I don't have a choice but to do it, which is going to be really, really fun. So one thing you can't even see, there's actually a brick molding around all of this landscaping that I'm gonna have to rip out. But first I'm gonna have to spray everything so I can even get to it. So once I get all that done, I'll be able to rip all the brick out, put a new border down, and go from there. The last little thing that we have to look at in this new yard is this little trench right here. So it's not a super big trench, it's not super deep, but I don't like taking the mower down into it, and I prefer not to mow it at all. So I think what I'm gonna do is get some riprap, that old broken up boulder, throw it down in this thing, and I'll make a video on that as well, just for a little erosion control, as well as make it easier to mow. So once I get all of that done, the house will be looking really good from the outside, but there is a lot more stuff under the house that we're gonna have to do. So right here under this window, there's actually a crack in the foundation that we saw before we bought the house. We're gonna have to get up under the house, fix that. There's also a floor joist under the house that has been completely eaten through from termites that we're gonna have to go up there, cut it out, replace it, sister up a new board. So we've got a bunch of cool videos that we're gonna have to be making on this old house. But I'm super excited. We're extremely happy that we got this house because we have almost 1,000 square feet more than what we previously did. A lot more room for our kiddo to run around. And honestly, that massive garage is absolutely insane. It's a 30 by 30 garage, which gives us plenty of room for both our cars, my motorcycle, the lawnmower, and everything else I need to put in it. As you can see right here as well, the green shutters and the red shutters are faded, what used to be red shutters. So stuff like that, little cosmetic things that we'll be working on throughout the time that we're at the house. But that's really all I have for this video. I just wanted to give a quick overview of the new yard, the new scenario that we've got here, and really get back going on my videos so that you guys can continue to see what's going on, and I can start putting out some more do-it-yourself how-to content. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.